Okay, I'm ready. Max, your sector has whenever you guys are ready, the floor is yours.
All right, you ready, Maximum?
Yeah, Scott, take it away.
All right, so today we are the financial sector and we will be pitching Robinhood. So, as a stock overview, the ticker is Hood. The current price is $84.71. Their market cap is 75.2 billion. So, our thesis points are, sorry about that. So, Robinhood is often mischaracterized as just a retail trading app, but it is evolving into a broader full-service financial ecosystem. The great wealth transfer will be passed down to Robinhood's target customer base, and expansion into international markets represents a significant long-term growth opportunity.
All right, so diving into the company overview now for Robinhood. Just as a base, it was founded in 2013 by Vlad Tenev and Baju Bhatt. Vlad Tenev is the CEO. He's remained the CEO, and Baju Bhatt has taken on a board position. It was launched as a zero commission trading firm in 2014, and a lot of brokerages have followed suit after that in terms of adopting that zero commission trading platform idea. So a couple things that they offer, like their core platform is a mobile first brokerage. Um, they offer equities, ETFs, options, and crypto trading. They have around 322 billion in assets under custody as of December, which is a 67% increase year over year. They offer Robinhood Gold, which is their subscription tier. It's $5 a month. It offers 5% APY cash sweep, margin trading, larger instant deposits, research. It also offers like free withdrawals and things like that. Um, for international expansion, they launched into UK brokerage in 2024, and they're just getting into the EU now. And I believe they just actually, I think it was yesterday or the day before, they signed a deal with the Singaporean government to start expanding there as well. So that's coming. They have Robinhood Banking, which is their high yield savings, their debit and credit card. The credit card is 3% cash back on everything and 5% back on travel, which is deepening the wallet share per customer and kind of expanding their total addressable market. And then their Active Trader Suite, which is their Legend desktop platform, which comes with every account. Futures and index options launched in 2024, which targets the active/professional segment. So moving forward into the management overview, it's important to understand how the management is aligned with the shareholders. So again, Vlad Tenev is the CEO and co-founder, co-founded Robinhood at Stanford. He's been their guy ever since. He's got 24% voting power. He doesn't take salary, and he doesn't have any PSUs or RSUs, but he does have a large stake in the company. Baiju Bhatt, similar thing. He's on the board now, still a very influential figure in the company. He has 36% voting power, which together they have 60% voting power. So then there's Jason Warnick, who's a CFO who joined from Amazon Finance in 2018. His compensation is 93% stock based between PSUs and RSUs. And Steve Quirk, who's the chief brokerage officer, his compensation is 91.3% stock based. So very well aligned. Moving into the revenue breakdown. So just by segment, this is how it's listed in their 10K. Their transaction revenue is 2.6 billion, which is around 58.8% of total revenue. This is the stuff that they get from the fees on options, cryptocurrencies, sometimes equities, prediction markets, and futures. Um, then there's their net interest revenue, which is 1.5 billion, and 33.8% of their total revenue. That comes from like their margin, their segregated cash, securities lending, and their gold card. And then there's the other category, which is $331 million and around 7.4% of the total revenue or what's left. And that's their Robinhood Gold subscription fees and their things they label as proxy revenues. So moving forward into their product segments, we like to break down their segments into four different categories. So there's the trading category, the financial services and banking, crypto, and international. Again, one of the things that Robinhood has been doing very well recently is just expanding the amount of things that they offer on their platform. That's one of the biggest drivers in their growth so far is that they keep on offering new products and new features that drive more revenue per customer. So it's not just about assets under custody, but they're also earning stuff from fees now and things like that. So Just a couple examples of some of the products in each category for trading. Of course, the general access to stocks and the fractional shares trading and the ability to trade total shares overnight and pre-market. Um, then there's financial services and banking, the gold card, which I have to be a little biased. I am, I am applied for the gold card, so I will be getting that. Their gold subscription, and they also just launched a new fund called Ventures Fund, which is private market access. Has exposure to things like Databricks and Anthropic and OpenAI and SpaceX, so that's pretty cool. Um, for crypto, they offer 58 US coins and 74 EU coins. And they have banking with 25,000 funded accounts, um, which keeps expanding year over year. Again, as we see kind of more of a crypto boom and the stablecoin renaissance coming, they are well positioned to record some of that revenue. And then international, we touched on it briefly before. We have the UK brokerage going live, and the EU transition is underway. And yeah, passing it to Lynn now.
Okay, so Robinhood has four main competitive advantages. The first thing is their strong brand and early adoptions. They essentially the entry point for younger investor. Over 50% of users say that they have Robinhood as their first brokerage account, and today they have about around 27 million fund users, and their early relationships translate into long-term value, which you can see they have nearly 4.2 million growth subscribers, which is growing really quickly. And second is their built-in platform. They own their infrastructures, including clearings and order routings, and this allowed them to launch new product faster, and like futures and prediction the markets. And the third thing is their low cost structures. Most of their costs are fixed around 85 to 90%, which creates strong operating leverage at these scales. And the final things is about their product ecosystems. They've expand their services beyond trading into banking, crypto credits, and advisory. And starting with the industry, our key themes here that we want to focus on is about the massive intergenerational wealth transferring that will reshape the retail financial services. And over the next 20 years, more than 100 trillions of assets will shift to millennials and Gen Zs, who are not only the core user of Robinhood, but also the main beneficiaries of this trend. And what is important here is the new generations expect a very different experience. They want a one-stop shop platform, the mobile first, simple and easy to use. And Robinhood already has a strong positions here, which over 50% of their users saying it was the first brokerage account. And at the same time, the industry is moving beyond this trading into a broader financial ecosystems. And you can already see the shift in Robinhood's number now is over 40% of their assets are now in longer term products like the ETFs, retirements, advisory, and cash. And finally, on their comparative size, others platform tend to move slower due to their complex systems. And in contrast, because Robinhood owns their infrastructures, this allowed them to launch their product faster. Looking at 2026, Robinhood has four main growth drivers. The first things is about market leaderships. Robinhood is now the number one platform for option volumes, and trading momentum is very strong. And with equity volumes up more than 50% years over years in January. The second is the international growth. They currently have more than 750,000 international customers, they about to launch their services in Malaysia in 2027 and also with Singapore government. And the third thing is about the banking flywheel. About half of Robinhood's banking users have direct deposit setups, which shows Robinhood is becoming a primary financials account. It's not just a trading app. And finally, it's about the wealth transfer opportunities. As younger generations inherit more wealth, Robinhood is well positioned to capture those assets through products like family investing and AI tool that such as Cortex. And on the risk, uh, the management also has a strong responses. First is about the regulations. The SEC appears to taking a more balanced approach with chairman's Paul Arkins signaling a more clarities for the industries and also have an open perspective for the cryptos. The second thing is about the crypto volatilities. Robinhood is now more diversified with crypto down about 20% of their revenues. The third thing is about competitions. Robinhood has posted 8 straight quarters of positive net inflows and continue to take shares of other competitors. And finally, it's about the credit risk. Margin loans are backed by more than 23 billions of user collaterals, and the clearing house hold over 3 billions of excess capital, which provide a strong positions.
All right, so moving on to our valuations, you can see in our comps analysis that they're well established in the race, and they going by market cap. There are smaller competitors, they're also larger, and you can see that going by revenue growth, they're the growth leader, and they also have more offerings than the rest, and that's the big thing to focus on. They're widespread of offerings. And then moving on to our DCF. So we decided to go with the method terminal method instead of the growth method, just because the Gordon growth method assumes that in 5 years from now, so 2030, they'd be at maturity, which is not a fair assumption to take for Robinhood based on where they are. So the bear case, you can see that we still see a 7% upside versus the current price. Base case, we see a 21% at $103. Case, we see a 37% upside. Moving on to our blended DCF and comps, you can see that there are wide ranges just because of how much the ratios that we saw on that comps analysis range between them and their competitors. Moving forward for some questions.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, questions. Any questions being taken now?
Hey guys, Luca here. First off, great pitch. Can you guys hear me okay? So I'm on the train.
We can hear you
Yes.
just fine.
Awesome. I wanted to maybe uh wonder if you guys can maybe walk through like the underlying assumptions to get to your base case price target within the DCF itself. Like like what percent of TAM does Robinhood take, et cetera, all of that. If you can walk me through that. Thank you.
Yeah, so starting with their net working capital, you can see that it sort of widely ranges, and this is the biggest influencer on our FCFF. So we believed that the short-term investment per revenue would continue from the 2025 numbers, so we forecasted that at 97%. And then we used the same method with short-term receivables, where we thought receivables to revenue ratio would stay towards the smaller end. And then we used the same method for short-term debt per revenue. We picked an average of the last 3 years to forecast that. Then with revenue, we thought that trading account revenue would grow starting at 40% and then taper off a little bit in the further longer term. For trust income, we thought that it would stay at 35%, and then interest income we thought would be lower at about 18% just because of interest rate risks. Then at our DCF, we believed that the terminal growth rate would be 4%, which gave us a growth model rate of $37.70. And then for multiples, we chose 20x, which is within the range for the competitor analysis. And you can see in the sensitivity tables that no matter the multiple that we chose and the WACC, we saw upside.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions?
Here, I'll guess I know this. I'm kind of breaking the rule here, but I guess as the host, I'll ask more of like a competitive moat type of question. So, obviously, Robinhood, most people kind of use that as like their first time brokerage. Do you guys see people opening Robinhood and using it for the long run, or do you think competitors like the big players like Schwab or Fidelity might come in and swoop their clientele and customers later down the road? So, is this like a long-term play, or do you guys see this as like a shorter term play here for like 2 to 3 years compared to 6 to 8 years or 10 years?
Yeah, so I can speak to that. If you just want to take the slides back to like our thesis in general. So one of the big things that we think is driving Robinhood's adoption is just and this you guys know this if you've used Robinhood before or if you've been on the site or anything like that. One of the biggest drivers of this company is its UI. Genuinely, it is the easiest UI to use. I mean, I've set up Robinhood. I know personally, I'm not going to use an anecdote to disprove like percentages or anything like that, but I've personally set up Robinhood accounts for people who have never looked at a stock before, and they found a way that it was very easy to adapt. Like I've set it up for my mom and the guy who runs the bagel store that I go to, right? So that was one of the big things that kind of tied into that. I think that their adoption isn't necessarily what we're looking at, though. It's more of the influx of AUC. So if you look here, the whole great wealth transfer bullet in the middle is what we think is really going to be driving the incoming AUC. Of course, they're going to expand their customer base as they always do, and a lot of doing that is by again transitioning from just the retail trading app into the full service financial ecosystem. In terms of moat, what kind of moat do they have? It, a lot of these brokerages are very similar. And it's not like there's very much difference in the competitors, but what Robinhood does the best is keeping track of what their I don't want to say constituents. What do you call that? Their customers need, customers want. So they didn't have a credit card. Now they have the credit card. They didn't have prediction markets. Now they have the prediction markets. They're very good at adapting and staying ahead of things and providing that sleek experience. If anyone wants to add on to that.
Yeah, just thanks for the answer, Tommy. I just want to quickly add on to that with because you also mentioned the great wealth transfer. Would you also consider that? I mean, that's also very similar to all the other brokerages out there that, there's going to be a great wealth transfer from the baby boomers to the millennials or the Gen Z. So isn't that kind of similar with the target customer base as well? It's not specifically just Robinhood.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, generally, the only reason why we think Robinhood will benefit from this more is because their customer base is younger, generally. So, like if you say the percentage of people who are in the baby boomer generation, by brokerage, it's probably the least for Robinhood because, most older people are probably using, like Fidelity accounts or things of that nature, if that makes sense. So we see Robinhood benefiting from that transition more.
A lot of people's first experiences with trading came with Robinhood and their massive growth in the past. And the sort of catalyst for them is that in the future, as people inherit more money and get money, they're going to stick with the platform that they're more comfortable with.
Thank you.
Is there, oh, well, you guys might have done this before the news came out. Is there any mention about the Trump accounts?
So yeah, we do have information on that. That is another thing that we were looking at. We didn't know how to mention that in terms of like how well adopted that's going to be, right? So we couldn't really put a price on how we think that's going to affect the company. It's definitely a good looking thing for the company to have more accounts starting, and that partnership and the fact that the government trusted them to do that is a very bullish thing for the company. Um, Specifically, they partnered, it's them and I think BNY, right? Bank of New
Hmm.
York is also doing them. So that Yeah, we think that's a very positive looking thing for the company. We just weren't sure of how to kind of weight that
So
looking
you guys
for
don't have any numbers for that then, right?
no numbers specifically.
All right, no worries. Um, I think you mentioned, actually, can you go back to your DCF model? What's the ERP that you guys used? The equity risk premium. I think that would have been like on your WAC slide,
I believe that's on the cover page.
or that's on the cover. Okay, never mind. You're using 4%. Okay. Hmm. For I think earlier in the presentation, you mentioned how crypto has fallen from like the 2021 highs. Um, and you have Charles Schwab, you have Fidelity, who can also now trade in digital assets. I think Charles Schwab, you can now offers direct Bitcoin and Ethereum trading. So how does Robinhood maintain its edge in the digital asset space? That was one of their, I guess, marketable assets that really attracted the young users.
Yeah, I pulled it up. The ERP that we assumed was 10%, which is relatively high. But
It is
so
relatively high.
yeah,
Why such a high ERP?
we felt that they're a high risk company. I mean, these fintech companies need higher returns.
Yeah, but can you justify doubling the ERP? I think the current market estimate for the ERP is, I think, what, 5% in that area?
And could you also explain what that is, ERP? Since I'm probably the least informed of everybody on this call, but it
I'll
seems to
let
be important. So please,
I'll let one of the panelists
yeah.
explain it.
ERP refers to the expected sort of rate of return for the market as a whole, the risk-free rate, which gives us sort of the weighted average cost of capital for that company. Of course, there's some steps that I skipped in that explanation, but basically it measures the risk of the company and then you use it to calculate like how much of a return investors are going to be expecting in calculating that.
Okay.
And then
And another
as
thing to
as
comment on the crypto point there, Robinhood does have more access to more coins than like Fidelity and Schwab. So they also continue to add them. Like I know I just got a notification earlier that said they were adding another one. So they're kind of ahead on that kind of
But then you
adoption.
have the hedge of if what is gonna be considered a security at that point, right? I think what you mentioned on another slide, which is like the Project Crypto or whatever that guy wanted to do or say. Um, and then if you guys can get back to me on why you guys picked a 10% ERP later, because I want to move on to my next question for you guys. Because you guys are financial, so you guys are a bank. Well, so you guys are evaluated slightly different than, you would evaluate a consumer discretionary or consumer staple. So interest rates. We live in the world of the Trump administration where one day we have skyrocketing shit, and then the next thing we know we have the opposite. Um, and I believe the most recent inflation data that came out wasn't the prettiest. Um, so if the Fed continues to cut rates in 2026, right, you guys are going to lose some of that margin. So does Robinhood have anything to, replace that lost margin?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a general macro risk. Like, of course, from most financial companies, there's going to be the interest rate risk, right? Um, Especially when you're dealing with a lot of, it's not just like a fintech company, you are dealing with lending. So they do have things that have kind of like stored stabilized revenue. Their revenue that they get from trading specifically is not related to to the interest rate, if I'm not wrong. On top of that, they are doing things like, I guess the credit card wouldn't be affected. That's kind of being rolled out. Um, the subscription fees that they get from gold and everything like that. There are income streams that are definitely protected from a direct risk to the interest rate change. But that is just a general macro risk that I think we do take on, or Robinhood does take on.
Could you guys also go back to like the risk slide? I have a question that's for something because you mentioned Kalshi, feels like every single day on the headlines there's something about insider trading. I think whether that was today or yesterday, you got that soldier who got indicted on insider trading for 400,000 for the Maduro raid. So does Robinhood and doing anything to protect their retail users from insider trading?
I think generally there'd have to be some sort of like kind of government intervention to regulate that, or provide some sort of safeguard against that. Right now, it's something that's very exploitable with the prediction markets. I don't think necessarily there is anything that Robinhood Markets does to prevent insider trading.
Well,
But I'm
I
sure they don't, I'm sure they're not happy with it, but I think there'd have to be some sort of government intervention if anyone wants to step in on that.
yeah, I think it's illegal, but we I think all the brokerage also have a margin requirement. So it should like be protected for the customers.
And then I have another thing. Do you guys have like a number for your ARPU, the average revenue per user? That's just, I'm curious.
I don't believe so.
Okay. Because since, with the Robinhood Gold and Platinum, I'm curious if they can, if you guys, if that's able to get broken out. Um, cool. I think that's all I got. At least that's all I had written down.
I think, sorry, I could be wrong off the top of my head, but through the 10th, if you look through the 10K, I think it's around $200 per user.
Not bad. All right.
No, maybe, yeah. So
And then what was your price target? Sorry if I missed it.
Our base case was $103.20.
What, they're trading around $85 today, I think.
84.71. They were 91 a week ago.
Okay. Okay, not bad. Thank
And
you.
then I guess I looked into it further. 10% for the ERP was a bit of a blunder. And then along with that, that would make our valuation lower than it should have been.
Okay, so if you actually no, I'm not gonna ask you guys to do it right now at the top of your head. Um, yeah, okay, thank you. That's all I got.
Our base case would become 148.45 using 5%, just throwing the number in.
Your base case, the stock price would become 100 and, do you say 140? You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, if we were to change our to a 5% ERP, we would get a price of 148.
Okay,
But that's not what our model's based upon.
okay.
Do we have any other questions we'd like to ask? All right, that should be it. Thank you guys. That was really really good. I'm proud of the fact that you guys were out here being able to get this thing going. So happy about the squad. Now, what we're gonna do is everybody in this Zoom right now, message me directly, private message me. Okay, this is very important. Private message me either yes or no, and then I'm gonna tally up all the votes. Okay. And then some people will have a higher weighted vote because they are a judge or they have a little bit more influence in the street smarts. But that's what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to give us the next 5 minutes to do so. And Then after that, we'll wrap it up. Okay. Just make sure you private message it to me. Do not message it to everybody, please.
So what are we doing?
So we're putting
Hey,
yes or
Justin,
no.
just quickly, sorry to budge in. Do we want should they message you your face cam or the audio?
No, message me through Zoom with the private chat. Or if you have my email or my number, you could do that too. But this is so it does it quicker. A yes
No, no, I
means yes.
know.
Yeah.
There's two Justin
There's
Trans
two
on.
Justins,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why.
both. Either or. Either or. I
Either
know.
or.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And then analysts, just obviously you can't vote, I'm guessing.
Wait, it's just a yes and no. It's like not a numerical thing.
Well, I'm gonna tally it up anyway. So I
Oh,
have
okay.
Is
I
it
still have to
yes
do it.
and no, Justin, that we are wanting to do this?
So yeah, so yes means we are gonna
I'm the
buy it.
dumbest one on this call, so you
No, no,
gotta
no, Michael,
break it down
you're
for
totally good.
me,
So a
please.
yes basically means that we are going to buy this in your brokerage account. A no means we're not going to do it. So that's kind of how everything is going to work for now.
Mm. I have a question then for the analysts. Um, if we were to buy this, would you buy it now or would you wait a little bit or what?
They announce earnings on Tuesday, so I think we should wait.
So that would before earnings or after earnings would be your entry point.
I think before earnings would be very risky.
So after earnings, got it.
Yes.
Cool.
But either way, it is a long-term play, and we are below the base target, so we would be comfortable entering here too.
Okay, no worries. I'm just curious. That wasn't by any means gonna be a demerit to you guys or not anything. I'm just curious. Um,
Well, while everybody is voting, you guys, this was really great, and it's just amazing to see how the street smarts is evolving, and this is really, really good. And it was also very good to see you, Tommy and Scott, a couple of weeks ago. And I guess I'll see you on Monday, but I'm really very proud of you guys and ladies. This was really, really good. And so I'm looking forward to the other two. And I'm just hoping that we can expand this out even more and offer this type of um I'm not quite sure what the word is that I'm looking for, but an opportunity um for other students to do this. And I don't know, I'm just really, I don't know, overwhelmed. And you guys have done such a fantastic job. So
Justin,
I hear you.
could you? I would like a copy of this deck if that's possible.
Oh, absolutely. I'm recording as well. I'll send over the recording and all the important information right after.
Thanks.
And if I could, I would just like to thank Max. I know his face isn't here, but he did put in a lot of effort and time each week. And my wonderful group mates, Scott and Lynn, thank you guys very much. You guys did a fantastic job. So very proud.
I'm still waiting for one more vote. It looks like who hasn't. Jose, do you want to vote or no? Okay, thank you. All right, thank you guys. Now for the drum roll. I'm gonna just say straight up right now, right after, because I already tallied everything up. It was pretty simple. Congrats. Yeah, you guys got the majority. So yes, we are going to buy Robinhood. Michael, you heard it. We will discuss with this probably sometime over the weekend when we have our regular executive board meeting. But Max, congrats, man. You guys got the buy. Well done for the second cohort.
Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate all your work, Justin. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that should be it. Tomorrow we are going again. So tomorrow, Saturday, is I'm not going to be hosting. It's actually going to be Michael Campbell because I have something going on. But tomorrow is going to be consumers. And those guys, I will say that they have put in very, very good work as well. Very on top of it. They're sector heads, they're analysts. When I was interviewing them, they were one of my favorite candidates to interview. So I have pretty high hopes for tomorrow as well. The time for it, I'm gonna send an update email regardless, but it's
Are you
gonna
going to move
be
it up? Or, 'cause I think it's like 9 or something.
no. Tomorrow is gonna be it's gonna be 11:30 Pacific, but 2:30
Okay.
Eastern. Yeah.
All right.
I'll send out a reminder again. And then on Sunday, that's going to be technology. And they're going a little bit later. They're going at 4:30 Pacific and 7:30 Eastern. Of course, reminders will be sent out there. But other than that, everything is finalized right there. So if you have any other questions, you can feel free to stay on. But I can email over this slide deck if you guys would like. I know David, you wanted a copy. This is also being recorded. So all is fair.
All right. Well,
Mhm.
fantastic, you guys. This is going to be, wow, this month has been kind of whirlwind. You can stop the recording, Justin.
Yeah, yeah.